If you make your creativity about you and God, that is going to be a much more successful endeavor than making your creativity about something so silly as what people think and if they like it. And something has really clicked for me today in understanding this, and I'm going to share it with you. So I was watching a video today from Rubin, and he talks about making your art, whatever it is that you are creating, not just in the typical sense of art, your business, your purpose, all of it, making it an offering to God. And something clicked in me because I realized that the greatest art, the things that we individually like, are because they are speaking to the God within us all. And when we create things to appease the mind or people's thoughts or their ego, it is already a losing game before you have even started. And that's because you are speaking to the ego in people and not to the God within. So when you create as an offering to God, you are already 10 steps ahead of 90% of the population that is creating something to have a momentary fleeting feeling of approval. Approval from what? People's egos and thoughts. Something that is so fleeting and ever-changing that it's an ever-moving goalpost. But if you create and you plug directly into source, and you create as an exchange between you and God, this dance, this dynamic tango between you and source, that will produce greatness. And it doesn't matter if it's not well liked, because you are literally speaking the language of God. There is a difference in how we create depending on the intention. If we create for approval and applause, that is going to create something very different than if we create for God, for the divinity in all. And this is the shift. This is the shift that's happening. This is how we can tell that things are different. AI, creating art, amazing, beautiful. But what was the consciousness of the person who prompted it, right? And we are seeking divinity. That's what we want in art. That is what the greatest creations that stand the test of time, they come with the consciousness of source, God, universe, divinity. The more you make it an offering and you feel humbled in the presence of such a great power, now we're talking. Now you're going to start ripping. You're going to start writing something that has never been heard of before. You're going to construct a sentence that has never been so eloquently put together, because it's an offering to all that is. But if we're making offerings to the collective ego, yeah, sure, it might be popular in the short term, but it changes. And it's also an illusion that is impossible to get the approval of. So if you just think about the difference in energy of approaching your creative projects and doing it as an offering to the highest source of intelligence, of love, think about how that would turn out differently than an offering to someone's ego. An offering that is to something that is fleeting and drains our energy. You want to be giving to a source that is already glad to be receiving. You want to be giving to the source that is you. You are source, you carry that code within you. And when you make your art, your writing, your business, your healing, your entire beingness, who you are as a person in all aspects, when that's an offering to God, you will actually create truly great pieces of art that stand the test of time. And I think this is the issue. This is where we get so siphoned. Our energy gets splattered all over the place, and you forget why you're doing it. And it always comes back to going inward. When you go back inward and you unplug from all of the bullshit and the conditioning and the rules and the known and the repetitive, that is when you suddenly get the idea that is actually going to change your life. So that's what you want to focus in on instead. Make it an offering to God, and honestly, make it an offering to yourself. Then you will speak to the divinity, the frequency of love in all people. That's what makes people feel the emotion behind what you do. That's what makes people buy, is they feel it. They feel it behind you. And they recognize that this is speaking to the divinity within and not fleeting illusions and ego stories and all kinds of things that serve a purpose, of course, and are ultimately the light in disguise. But the intention to create is going to produce something very different depending on where you are offering yourself to. So consider that and go and do the project that you've been putting off, for Christ's sake.